Arkansas, how you doing? Today I'm going to plant some onions in the raised beds I got behind me here. Let me take you along and show you what I've done. Okay, there's an asparagus bed we did a little while ago, and now I've got to rejuvenate these two beds. These are going to be onion beds. As you can see there, those are broccoli from last year, and we're going to rejuvenate these beds, plant us some candy onions. One side, or one bed, it's 5 by 5, is done. So I got to do that one. You'll notice I left the broccoli in. It's because it's flowering. I'm going to save the seed. Alright, it's the next day, and I did finish that bed, and it's darker because it hasn't dried. The top hasn't dried like this has. I took these boards and I mashed the rice holes, which is probably about an inch thick in there, and I mashed them down flat because these rice holes are very fluffy and I need a good, fairly solid base to put the onions in. So now we're going to take and measure it out, and I'll show you how I do that. And those are tent stakes with tomato twine wrapped around them. That's probably the same tomato twine I initially used on some of them, like this one and the one that I'm using here. You don't have to be this meticulous when you plant onions. You just plant them, they'll grow, but I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive, not a perfectionist, but I do like them to kind of be neat when possible. And I already have this, so why not give it a go? So I've taken my little dibber here and I've started making holes, and I did all along this line, and the measure I used was just basically my hand. I just took the base of my palm and I put it to the tip. It's about 7 inches, and I did that all the way down. I'll do it on the other side, on the far side over there, and then all I'll do is just eye it for the rest of them. So do first 2 rows, this one, and then the far side, 7 across on each side, and then I'll eye it and then plant the onions. So we're in my deep freezer, and I keep my seeds in here, vacuum sealed. And yes, I had this staged. No need in trying to make it harder than it has to be. These are my candy onions that I vacuum sealed and put in these little individual containers in September of 2016. And I took a package of those out and planted them. And so you saw me plant these, and these are the candies. Didn't get a lot of great germination on that one. I got really good germination with that one, and so-so in the back there. The thing is, they're too small. I'm behind the power curve. So I went ahead and ordered Dixondales. And so that's what we're going to plan out today. Alright, planting onions. There's a little bit of a trick to this, okay? Here's a dibber. If you don't have a dibber, you can just use your finger. This really isn't rocket science. So, this is what you don't want to do. You don't want to stick the onion in way down in there like that. The thought may be to carry it all the way to the green. You want it all underground so the roots will develop nicely and it'll get water and all that kind of stuff. But what happens with bulbing onions is that as they get bigger, they need to expand, and most of that expansion needs to be above the ground. In fact, having it underground can limit it. So that is way too deep. At the same time, let me cover it back up. You don't want it to be way too shallow. I see people that'll plant just barely on top, and any, heavy rain or, I don't know, critter walking by or wind can pull it out. So here's what I do. I plant it down about 1 inch, and I bring the soil in around it and tamp it down just like that. Okay, the camera died. So anyway, you plant it about 1/2 inch to 1 inch deep, and I kind of tap it around because I want it a little bit firm. And I did that with these, both of these. Now, it's going to grow the green leaves, if you will. These little things here, they're going to start popping up and the roots are going to go down. And they're going to grow until the length of the day triggers the onions to bulb up. Now when they bulb up, the greens are going to start growing and they're going to start swelling. Now what you should do is as they swell, you should come out and kind of remove some of the soil and let it expand and get bigger. So that's not really a big deal. It's real quick and easy to do. So I've placed all the onions in there, and I did that because it was lunchtime and I didn't want them to dry out too terribly in the sun and wind out here. So now I'm going to go through and just put all these onions in about 1 inch deep and pack it down around it like this. There you go, onions planted. There's about 80 or 90 there, didn't count. But something about onions grow, bulbing onions, they grow based on their location. And you need to get location specific type of onions. You can get long day, short day, or intermediate day. These are candy. Candy's an intermediate day and they grow well in Arkansas. You get above Arkansas in the line across the United States, right above Arkansas, and you get into long day type onions. And if you get below Arkansas, and to include Arkansas, you can grow short day onions. Intermediate's a very narrow strip around the Arkansas area, North Carolina to Arkansas, and then straight west. And all that means is that the light will maximize bulb formation. If you get up north, it's a longer day. The days are longer, and that's what cues the onions to bulb. If you get down south, like in Texas, the days are shorter, and the onions, you need a short day onion to bulb up properly. So that's a little bit about onions. I'm growing intermediate. This is candy. Make sure you get the right appropriate type of onion to fit your area. So that's it for the onions. We'll see you guys later.